What are you doing, bro? Bro. Everything that's ever happened has happened, and it's led up to this moment. This very moment right now. Every moment since forever has happened to lead up to this very moment right now. Every now is the culmination of every now before now was now. Right? Now is now after every now that's nowed until now, which is a little bit nower than it nows, but now it's now. So like now is now. But like, so what? Yeah, it's now, duh. But like, no, like now is like everything happened to lead up till now. And here I am on Earth now. And this video is playing on a phone or a computer screen because of magic. And now you're in this moment with me, a minute 30. We're in this moment together. And think of it like the cosmos is infinite, right? And the Earth is pretty much infinite as well. You know, you're a tiny little body and there's a lot of space everywhere. And even though we've covered up a great deal of it, there's still a lot of just space. It's just out there. Like I'm out in the middle of the freaking forest right now. Right in the middle of it, dude. Like who the hell's been out around these trees anytime recently? You know, I'm on it's a trail, but it's not one that's traveled very often. And if I just bushwhack in any direction from here, there's probably no one's ever stepped foot on any of this soil for like a long time. I mean, other than some hunters set up a stand, but like right here, or like I could drive down the road in any direction and just pull off and I can go and find myself in a place that effectively is untouched. And you know, it's not an old growth forest, but it's basically pristine. But what I was saying is that there's all the everything. As far as far goes, it goes for. It's always now, it's infinite. But despite how infinite it is, I, which maybe you and I, we find ourselves exactly where we are. Out of the whole entire infinite grid of creation, of the infinite physical matrix, the motherly matrix, not the Babylonian matrix, but just the matrix of creation, the web of life, infinite. And then we find ourselves where we find ourselves. And often we find ourselves somewhere that we would like to maybe go elsewhere. And maybe we go elsewhere. And we might go elsewhere often, always looking elsewhere. Meanwhile, no matter where you are you. And what you are is a unique little culmination of all of creation. You exist. I'll say that again and again. You exist. This is like the fundamental fact that really, it can't be escaped, but it can be ignored and avoided. But if you really, really sit with it, I don't know, you might realize something about yourself, that you exist. It's a cosmic fact that you might say, well, duh, obviously I exist, but no, sit with it. It might mean something beyond words. Oh, fuck. Don't want that to fall on top of me. Big old tree, I want to push it over, but who knows, I might push too hard one way and then it just freaking clobbers me. I don't want to get clobbered. I'm rambling and I'm also wandering. in the woods. It took all of every fucking minute and year leading up to right now. Human monkey talking on the phone out in the woods. Human monkey man. Ah! It's thick, yo. What is that? It's thick. This is no trail. Like, when was the last time a human stumbled around here? This forest is like my hair. It's locked up. This forest here, it's locked up. I need to come back with a machete. And I'm not even, where am I going? I have no aim. I have no destination. I'm just moving around. I'm just moving around because there's really nothing to really do. Maybe you think there's a lot of things to do, but from my perspective and my perception and where I see it all and feel it all, and like, there really isn't so much to do. Actually, like, there's definitely a lot to sit with, especially the fact that we exist. Like, that to me is the fundamental thing. Because it's like, what can you do as a human? You know? What can you do? Whoa. I kind of want to set this phone up and just like talk like it's like I'm on a stage instead of like I got a GoPro or something. Because I got something to say. But I also don't. It's not exactly, it's not original, but I live it. Okay, so I'm standing on a log. I'm kind of hot. I'm hot. 80 bajillion years have led up to this moment. Right now, I'm taking off my sweater. So yeah, all of creation, or whatever you want to call it, all of the world, the Big Bang that just came out of nowhere, all of the everything you see, it's all here, and you are here. And I cannot stress it enough. It almost seems like an empty punchline for me to just say that you are here, but you are here now. You can say it like, I am here now. That's like the most significant thing you could ever repeat in your mind. All the different, everything that the mind can do, all the various arts and sciences and belief systems and philosophy and all the encyclopedias, all the Reader's Digest, all the this, all the that, all the valuable knowledge, all the useless nonsense, all of that, it's all like, it's a little bit extra. It's a little bit extra from who you really are and what this whole thing is really all about. But like, okay, as a human, right, you wake up and you have the day, the illusion of the day. They said it was one day and then it's the next day. It's really all the same time. There's not been another day except for there's only one eternal day. But you have the illusion of a light that goes on and a light that goes off and it comes back and you know. So you think you have days. And then based on that, you've like chopped up the infinite, eternal to be calculated seconds, minutes, hours, time, completely made up, right? But you get trained and conditioned to operate according to that false construct, right? And you abide by it and you work by it, because out of the infinite thing that is nothing but, like, time is eternal. Time is, see, there's like, it's hard to talk about time because there's a time that is the clock and there's like a time just to reference something bigger. But you wake up and you exist, and to exist, you need to eat. Or maybe you think and believe that you can become a breatharian, which means that you still need to eat in some which way. You're either eating air, or you're eating food, or you're eating fucking carrots, or you're eating fucking pork, whatever. No matter who the fuck you are, you gotta consume something. Whether it's fresh air or fucking tacos on Tuesday, you gotta eat. Okay, so the human has to ingest, has to get material that comes from a variety of sources. It can come from immediately where you're at, but in most cases, it comes from the store. The store has assembled all these things, and it comes from all over the world to get there, for you to go there, to get it, and to take it home. We'll get to that part. Take it home, to consume it, so that you have like energy, so that you get energy. You take in the energy so that you can be animated, so that you can breathe and use your hands to get into trouble, and use your feet to like not walk enough, but just get to the things and get in the car to get to the place. So that's a whole other tangent too. Cars, houses, those are tangents. I'm trying to stick to this concisely. So you have to eat, right? Because you exist, and you exist what for? I don't know. That's the conundrum. That's what I want to speak to, is what do you exist for? What do you need energy to do besides get more of the stuff to do, to get more of the stuff, to get more of the stuff, to get more of the stuff? But what do you actually live for? What do you live for? Okay, now you also, maybe you have some free time and you engage in certain things. You move your body in a certain way, you do sports, you do some activity, or you just watch these things happen. You watch movies, you watch media, you watch the Instagram, you watch this and you watch that. You look at all these things outside of yourself and you daydream and you go through the spells and you're just in the trance. You're just, okay, you eat so that you can exist in a trance state, which is separate and outside of like your real present self. So that's what people, so I'm going down the list here. So some people eat the food and they all like work until they get too sick or injured to work, and then they just get the money to continue their pattern of disease. But you work, everyone's working, we're all working. What are we working for? That's my question, is what are we working for? All right? To meet our basic needs so that we can watch television and go to concerts. Now, I like music and I like movies, but I think there's something really strange about the habitual tendency to always be watching them every single day, all the time. That's a whole nother tangent. I'm trying to stay on task here, but what are humans doing, bro? And why? Everyone is in a rush to go somewhere. Where? I don't know. To get more fucking ice cream, to get more kibble, and bring it back to their box, right? So we have this thing that we come into this world, you know, and we're shoved all this shit into our eyeballs, into our ears, into our stomachs. We're mostly fed poison, we're mostly fed lies, we're fed everything opposite of what eventually will be discovered and realized as truth. But we're like going and going and going for what? You know, like, there's so many things to do that feel good, but ultimately, is that all there is to it? To just chase after different rushes, to chase after this thing and just repeat. And it just seems like this like cycle or a loop, a definite loop. And I don't know, it's like, I guess I feel like I found myself kind of stopping and observing these cycles and observing these loops that everyone goes around, and that I'm also still involved in to some degree. But me, I don't find myself trying to acquire what everyone else is after. And so I find myself in a peculiar position. And that's why I'm kind of out here in the middle of the woods talking to a camera, trying to convey something. For what? I don't know. Or I do, or I don't. I don't know. It's all silly. It's kind of like, what's the point? You know? What's the point to say anything at all? What is the point? Why would I say anything at all to anyone ever? I was thinking about that today. You know, why would I communicate to anyone at all? Maybe that sounds crazy. I don't know. There's something to it. But like, all these people are eating to get energy to do what? That's the great mystery. What is a human to do? And so like, we don't know what we're to do. And so we like make all these foolish attempts at doing something for why and for what? Because we were told to keep busy, pretty much. But then, because the system is so fucking retarded, and the soul knows it, there's a conflict in the heart, right? There's a conflict in the heart and the mind and the being, because the natural being is in this artificial world following artificial and arbitrary goals and desires, according to an artificial system of existence. For what and for why? The great mystery of human incarnation, right? So you have this cycle, basically. You maybe have a home, or you don't have a home. But if you're on a cell phone right now, there's chances that you do have shelter and you do have an internet connection. So then what is that for? So that you have a place where you can kind of store your foods and your clothes and your bed. So you have a place to eat, you have a place to sleep, and you have a place to shit, right? And that's a box, right? And you pay a lot of money for it, and it's getting more expensive every day to do this whole thing. So it's this hamster wheel, right? Of like, that's all you really do is you eat, and you go about and you fiddle around and you do work you don't want to do, or maybe you do have like a cool job and you enjoy it. That's a blessing. But even then you got to wonder why you're doing that anyway. You know, like my current job, I like it, it's a good job, but also, you know, ultimately I wouldn't choose to do it unless I needed money. And I need money because of this world that I'm in. And my conundrum is that it seems to me that we really don't have to require money to live. But we've been so indoctrinated and conditioned, we think that there's no way that life on Earth can exist without money and taxes and government. And jobs and like just the hamster wheel. Because we gotta eat. And what are people eating? What are people primarily eating in this country? So people are living their best lives, but really, what are they doing? What are we doing? It's just so weird. So you got all of these people. Like, it's wild how many bodies there are walking around, talking around, driving in their shiny vehicles to get to the store, to get some shit, to take it home to their box, to unwrap it, chew it up, pass out, wake up, rinse, repeat, on and on and on. See, I'm going, what on and on and on? This is 18 minutes of just talking about the on and on and on, but this on and on and on has been going on and on and on for so fucking long. This 20 minutes is like a fucking beep. Nothing compared to the grand thing. And like, I don't know, if you are watching this at 20 minutes, you're a special person, I guess. Maybe, I mean, like, yeah, you gotta be. So I hope you can pick up some like vibrations that are a little bit more than these silly words. I hope I can transmit something that is more than just these silly words. Fucking airplane in the air. That thing is huge. Okay? You know, we should look at that and be like, wow, that's possible? What am I doing what I'm doing? Like, what I'm trying to say, man, is like, I think there is something more to this life than the standard routine. And I think it's so weird that I find myself quite alone in, like, considering these alternative options outside of the little box. I find it so weird that so many are so complacent and comfortable to be like basically slaves, subhuman, like not even living up to what they were made for. So what I'm saying is that, like, while it seems like society's main objective is to eat and shit and fuck, those things have their place, but I think the real point of this has something to do with the fact that we are aware at all and can sense anything. The body is what needs to be fed, right? But believe it or not, we're not the body. We're not this routine. We're not what we think we are. If we even think anything of ourselves. I don't know. I wonder what people really think about. But the fact that you're aware and you're in the middle, every single one is in the middle of the fucking universe, right? Because you're there and everything is everywhere around you, and you're in your unique individual fucking perspective. Which is fucking crazy, bro. You got a unique individual perspective. You got your own seat in the fucking greatest fucking thing that ever was, like, or ever will be. Like, and there's more to it than meets the eye. There's fucking infinite, fractal, holographic, and in every fucking direction, every little spick and nut, every fucking, like, racks on racks, like every little piece you pick apart, there's more to that, infinitely. Infinite in every which direction, beyond direction altogether. Every which way, at the same time, simultaneously, blip, 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 blip. Everything and more. But like, amidst the everything, where are people looking? At little boxes, and they eat out of boxes, and they live in boxes, and they got boxes with wheels to go between the different boxes to get their fucking shit to make a fucking poop. You know, what do humans really produce? Because we take all the things of the earth and we shape them. But what do we actually make? If we're not constipated, that's what we make. We make shit and piss. Think about that. Think about that. You process, so the body that you drive, your vehicle, is processing matter. So you're in this material web and you're processing matter, right? So maybe there's a secret there to tap into. Okay, so I produce this shit. What is shit good for? Well, if you listen to the society, they'll tell you it's the most filthy thing ever and it needs to be put into water and it needs to be flushed away. When really, what you depend on to live will eat that shit and make itself more viable to you. So your shit that you release can be put onto the ground, essentially, and from that ground can be a plant, and that plant may be as is, or that plant may feed an animal, etc., etc. The chain goes on, produces a thing to then consume again. So you are this like processing machine for what? So it seems like one of the most worthless things ever is potentially valuable. So you're here to actually be aware. And what does your awareness require? It requires you to have energy, right? From the food, from the air, from the water. Where do you have to go to do that? You can do it where you are exactly. The whole earth is the same situation. You know, like the weather is a little bit different from place to place. Maybe a lot of bit different, but essentially it's the same fucking thing everywhere. To where you exist, you gotta get some stuff from somewhere to shit. And then you gotta get more stuff, and more stuff, and more stuff. And you gotta keep getting more. And all along the way, your body just gets more sick and more degenerated. And then you find yourself like looking uglier every day. And you still don't know what the fuck you are, or why you were born, or what this whole thing is. And you've just fucking accepted it your whole entire life and went along with it. And then finally, while you're running the hamster wheel, all of a sudden it seizes up, or you fucking twist an ankle and you trip and you're like laid out, right? And then life takes on a new dimension, right? Because all of a sudden now, injury, illness occurs. Now your body is a little bit stuck, eh? Doesn't move quite the same way, eh? But all along you're still aware, eh? All along you can still sense and perceive, eh? Eh? And like when you fucking get your head out of your ass looking everywhere, oh my God, you can actually see within. You can sense within. There's an internal world that goes on infinitely as well. And like, it's no better or worse, but there's some cool stuff inside, right? Some cool things inside, potentially, if you can attend your attention, direct your attention inside, you might see. Or maybe it's just blank, I don't know. I don't know, man, I really don't know. I don't know what people are up to, because like, I don't know, I feel like every day I wake up and I'm in my existing and awareing, right? And I don't really necessarily like focus on the routine. I kind of focus on breathing and being aware that I'm aware, and I learn stuff. I learn stuff from reading, but I also am learning stuff from the inside out. And I'm just like, wow, the world seems to be struggling with problems, and I can't help but like, I feel like I have solutions to these problems. And I feel like I'm definitely not the only one to come up with these solutions. And like, these solutions actually seem to be painstakingly simple and obvious. So it's like, are we as a collective really trying to fix things? Or is it like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's like, okay, so are we trying to like, what are we doing? It's like, it's crazy, dude. People want to be happy. People want to know God or something, right? Even if they're atheists, they actually want to know what the fuck this all is, right? You know, they might explain it in some little fucking explanation that they're comfortable with. They might believe it in some this, that they're comfortable with. But like, everyone's looking for exactly what they are. Because everyone, you know, even though you can hop up and down, you're not separate from this whole thing. You're one and the same with it all. And it's gigantic. So that's something to be in awe of, to revere, to consider all that before what they've told you about, man. Like, to consider the whole everything, everywhere has conspired for you to be taking the very breath you're doing, and to be blinking right now, and to be hearing right now, and to be sitting there or standing or what, or just like, I don't know. I don't know how you pick up what I'm putting down, if you even do. Because there's a lot of crazy talking heads out there, and I'm just adding to the mix. I'm just programming the AI, because I'll upload this, or even right now, just like because it's a fucking phone and there's a goddamn government, like who knows? Some guy could be sitting there in his CIA office like, damn, Christopher's doing another one. That kid is really fucking on to something. We gotta kick it up a notch with keeping these sheeple up in their fucking mix, man. And even if there isn't a CIA, like, dude, if you knew like what's going on with this world, like the fucking word, the power of word and sound, it's a fucking crazy thing. But here I am. I'm existing. I am. I just simply freaking am. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing it, and I'm just like, well, fuck. Problem solved. For me, at least. But nonetheless, I will come across some other fishes in my swim, and those fishes will be stressed, and I will, you know, have a solution, but it'll be out of range to their ability to compute. Because that's what I noticed in the world, is that I think people are really like more attached to their problems in such a way that they really don't want to solve them, and they really don't want to de-stress, and they really don't want to wake up. They really don't want to know who they are, and they don't really want to stop being miserable. But they do, but they don't. The human is so weird. Because all along that it is it, there is also this strange thing that of ignorance, right? Of ignorance. The element of ignorance. And I guess that's what we're all grappling with. And I guess that's why we run in the circles that we do. But man, you know?